Well, hello there everyone. Welcome to PumkinSnatch. So recently guys, I got a lot of questions about my deck, and people often ask me in my DMs like, hey, what are you running? I want to build your deck, I see your videos and it's so cool, you're playing DARKLORDs. And then when I tell them or show them my deck, often they ask me like, oh, do you need that card? Can I take that out? And advice. And I try my best to help them, but then I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just make a standalone video and talk about why I have all these cards in here. So if you guys like this video, just go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think. Also, in the comments below, can you answer this question for me? I was thinking about doing a stream for just kind of like deck building streams where we all kind of just build something and have fun, and just kind of like have a more relaxing. We can still do some dueling, but I kind of was like, you know what? Why don't we just have like a deck building stream, you know? And then we can kind of showcase who we all put together, you know? Anyway, so I'm gonna go deep into this. This is a 60 card deck. Yeah, so it's a pretty big deck. When I first made my original DARKLORD deck when Master Duel came out, I'm pretty sure it was like 45 cards, maybe 43. But then as I moved up the ladder, I realized I needed more strategies to kind of compete. And so I eventually went up to I think 52 cards, then the 55 cards, and then the 60. Now I can always take out cards, guys. I don't need everything in here like this cashier nonsense, right? It's a little unfair. But I put it in there just because I thought it would be fun, and now it's at like 60 cards, and I really like this. All of my DARKLORD decks I made in the past, they were so much fun, but I also really like this right now. And so I'm going to go through each card first, and then we're going to talk about some of the strategies this deck has, and maybe some things you didn't know, so stick around, okay? Alright, so we're first going to start off with our our Destiny of Tragedy. We have 3 Max Seas, boys. We have an Ukubac, we have Condemned Witch, we have 1 Ecclesia, Alblet is here. We have Capricious, 2 of Indulge, 2 Alivers, 1 Cashier Rice Heart, 1 of Amdas, Visals, got some Visals here, just 1 of each. We have our Nasdin, we have Fenrir, 2 Fenrirs, we have the Unicorn, just 1. This is new, Light and Darkness Dragon, I added this last week. Archler Christia, we have 2 Superbias, I used to have 3, we had 2. We have 1 Nargal, 1 Dramakurge. Is that how you say that? Oh boy, this is always tough. Tezcatlipoca. 3 Eggshells. This is also a must, guys. This is also a must for your DARKLORD builds. We have 1 Morningstar, 1 Zoa, 1 Raigeki, 1 Harpy Duster, 4, you know, your generics, 3 trade-ins. We have our Searcher, so Banishment of the DARKLORD, again, a 3 of. And DARKLORD Contact, again, a 3 of. We have 1 DARKLORD No More, Branded Fusion, Desperate Beater of the Branded, Dogmatic Calamity, Prohibition, Cashier Birth, Dogmatic Matrix, Forbidden Drop, Eradicated Academic Virus, 1 Rebellion, 1 Enchantment, 1 Back to the Front, 1 Sanctioned DARKLORD, 1 DARKLORD Uprising, 1 Branded Banishment, and now we're into our extra deck. So 1 of this, 2 of these, 2 of these, 1 of this, 1 of this, 2 of these. We have 1, used to be 2, but 1, Crusading Abramax, and Closed World. Was that it? Okay, perfect. So now you guys have the entire deck list right in front of you here, and I went through every card, okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the strategies, guys. Again, it's a pretty big deck, so I'll try and make this video fast and clear, but I wanted to let you know it might be a little bit, okay? So, let's start with the DARKLORD archetype. Let's just go there first. So as you guys know, my favorite archetype in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are DARKLORDs. I freaking love these cards. They're amazing, okay? So when you're playing DARKLORDs, guys, they are a fairy-based archetype. A lot of their strategies revolve around discarding from the hand to use an effect and or copy card effects in the graveyard, okay? That's their main thing. They have non-targeting trap cards. So let's say you want to pop a card. Well, they have a non-targeting pop. They have a non-targeting take control of. They have a non-targeting negate. And this trap card here allows you to fuse and gain life points back. Or you can just copy this effect in graveyard and fuse anyway. Most of the times you want this in the graveyard unless you want to neg 4 cards. But anyway, so the DARKLORD cards really need their draws, which is this, and their searchers, which can be this here, or this card here. Like these spell cards, like you want to make sure you get these going. So you need to make sure you have the right combination of cards. Can I show a test hand? I don't know how to show a test hand, but basically your DARKLORDs are very heavy hitters. the special summon from grave with the help of DARKLORD Superbia. So when this card is special summoned, you can special summon a fairy monster, a fairy type monster. Notice this fairy type guys in that DARKLORDs, which means you can also access your Despia cards. Your Despia monsters at least. And I'm sure if you guys know the Despia engine, unless you want me to explain it, I think you guys already know how that works. A lot of fusion-based things, you can search out if this uses fusion material. So I'm going to skip over to Despia because I'm pretty sure you guys understand how that works. You have your branded fusion. I'm going to talk about this here in a second. You have your theater and tragedy. What else? I think I used to have branded in red. I took it out. It looks like, oh, this here. So kind of like a soft screw poly. So yeah, we have a bunch of branded strategies. But anyway, DARKLORDs are heavy on special summoning. You want to send them to the grave and bring them back with Superbia by using this here. If you were to say, let's say, you have this in your hand and this in your hand, that's probably one of the best combinations you can have. Because Eggshell, she allows you to discard 2 cards and draw 2, so you including her. So you would send this to the graveyard, with this to the graveyard, and you would draw 2. If you were lucky, you would get this here, or at least this to search out that card. You would bring back your Superbia first, then a DARKLORD card like Eggshell or any of the DARKLORD cards, right? Then you could use Eggshell's ability to copy this card in the graveyard to search out a card, or you can reborn another monster. I want to mention this too, by the way. If you have, let's say, Eggshell or Nazin or any of the DARKLORDs that can copy an effect in the graveyard, and you hit this card here, and you select Superbia, Superbia will allow you to special summon a monster, again, using it that way. So you want to make sure if you're going to use Monster Reborn or this card here, try it and use it first on Superbia, then let Superbia do this thing. Alright, so the DARKLORDs, let's see, they have, like I said, the ability to copy cards in grave. So let's say you use this trap card here, you place it on the field, send 1 DARKLORD monster from your hand or face up to the field to the graveyard, destroy 1 card, so you pop a card, right? And let's say you still have another DARKLORD on the field, and there's another problem you want to get rid of, you can pay 1,000 life points, then target 1 DARKLORD spell or trap card in your graveyard, apply that target's effects, and then you shuffle it back into the deck. So I could just select this again, even though I just used it, and pop another card, and this gets shuffled back into the deck. And the best part is, it's non-targeting. And so that's what makes it really, really neat, guys. Let's see, what else can we get in here? This deck really needs draw power because there's so many heavy hitters in here, and you want to make sure you get to your stuff fast, which is why I run Maxi 3 of. If I play Maxi on you, you decide to let me draw like crazy, just be prepared for a nightmare. Just say it like that. DARKLORD Ukabak allows you to send 1 DARKLORD card from your deck to the graveyard. Remember when I said you can send cards, or cards in the graveyard, how they can copy effects? Well, you can copy a pop, a trap, a negate, or a fusion. You can go fusion summon with us, right? Into your big boy. So you use Ukabak to send 1 of the spell traps or monsters. If you don't already have Superbia, that's probably going to be your to-go-to. And you can just reborn it back. If you don't, or if you already have that engraved, maybe it's a good idea to go for the trap cards, or maybe even just a search. So play Ukabak, send that to grave, pay 1,000, get the search off if you need it immediately, or play Ukabak, send that to grave, pay 1,000, use that, and get any DARKLORD back you want. So you can see this is kind of big brain here, but it's not that hard. I promise. Let's see here. We have this here, which is really good. So a lot of people will dump an Ash Blossom onto this card, and it's really funny. She can search out any forbidden spell, which is really good. As you guys saw, I have Forbidden Drop. I don't know where it went, but it's in here somewhere. Forbidden Drop, there it is. So I have Forbidden Drop. So she can search out any forbidden spell, but also look here, guys. Besides being an Ash Bee, she has a quick effect on your opponent's turn where she can special summon 1 level 4 fairy monster. Well, guess who that's going to be? That's right, boys. We're going right into our Despia branded fusion nonsense. Or, if you already have that stuff, guys, guess what? You can go into your DARKLORD combos. So this one here, when she is normal summon or special summon, you can take 2 DARKLORD monsters from your hand or deck with different levels except Indulge, right? Special summon 1 of them to your opponent's field in defense mode, and then add the other one to your hand. Now you gotta be careful with this one here, because when you use her effects, you can't use anything else except for fairy monsters for the rest of the turn, okay? So be very careful with that. I've kind of slipped up a couple times, but yeah. So that's really good. So again, quick effect, right? You go to your deck. The most common card I'm gonna go for is Aliber, right? To search out branded fusion. I'm sure you guys know what that is. Or if I have to, I'm gonna search out this, right? And she can either, I'll give you that card here. I'm gonna get to her in a second. And I'll either add a Superbia, Eggshell, Morningstar, or you wanna add this, right? So this is your protection. This is your draw 2. And this is your Morningstar, which we'll get to him later. So that's kind of the go-to thing. With this card on their side of the board, if they were to get rid of this, or you get rid of it, all their monsters lose 500 attack for each fairies. And oh, they lose 500 attack in defense. And guess what? It also has another ability. It has a quick effect to where basically you can tribute her, or actually any fairies on board, to summon another fairy. Well, guess what? You're gonna want to summon this if possible, right? When you bring up Morningstar, guys, he can summon out a bunch of Darklords up to the number of up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. And there's a lot of fairies in here, and so he can just bring out pretty much a whole army with him. And then, if you time it right, all of their monsters lose 500 attack and defense for each fairy monster that is on the board now. So you guys do the math. A cool combo I like to do, so I'll play the effect here to tribute the summon Morningstar, and when you do that, try to grab a Nergal if possible from the hand or deck, because remember when they lose attack and defense due to Capricious before? Well, guess what he can do? He now gives all of your fairy monsters piercing ability. That alone could be enough to just blow out your opponent, because if you guys haven't noticed, these Darklords have really high attack points, man. They are nothing to snuff at. And so if all your monsters, regardless of their position, lose a 500 attack for each fairy, and I just summon them with Morningstar, you probably lost between 1,000 or more attack points, and then if I can just pierce over those cards, that damage is gonna add up pretty fast. I've won just by doing that several times. Alright, so you guys see Ecclesia here, right? Well, Ecclesia can search out a Dogmatica card. If possible, you want to go for this one here, because when you play this, and if they have a monster on the board, right? Now you can do an additional search for both a Ritual and a Dogmatica card, right? So you're gonna go here, and you're gonna go here. If you guys are familiar with Zilla, he's very funny. Long story short, what he does, guys, is that he's unaffected by pretty much all extra deck monsters, and he can rip cards right out of your opponent's extra deck, like half their extra deck goes straight to the graveyard, or it bounces all of their extra deck monsters back to their back to the extra deck. And so it can be pretty brutal, guys. I've sent up to like 7 cards from their extra deck to the graveyard. Other times I've sent other cards from their hand to the graveyard. And so it just depends. It just depends what you're looking for. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. I'm gonna get to him in a second, but basically, what you want to do in this situation when you start going into your branded place, like I said earlier, boom, boom, right? Then, where is it at? Boom, branded diffusion. Now we're going to our fusion combos. When you play your branded fusion, you're obviously going to go for your Mirror Jade, right? Well, you're going to obviously send this and one branded boy over here to the graveyard to get your Mirror Jade, and this will let you search for a Despia monster, which I mentioned before. One of that, or another Oliver. So now you have at least one extra fairy in your hand. If you also have the fusion card here on the board, well, you can just use that new fairy you just got, right? With the other Darklord cards to summon out this. We'll get to him later. But basically, you're gonna go for your Mirror Jade, if possible. If not, that's still fine. There's still other combos you can do. There's a lot in this deck, guys. It's crazy. When you use Mirror Jade's effect, regardless if Mirror Jade lives or dies, you want to send this or this. If you send this, guess what? That's going to let you go for your Dogmatica plate I mentioned just a few minutes ago. Remember? Ecclesia into the Ritual? Bam! Or go for Fallen of All Blades and fusion another monster, right? If you send this, now we're going back into our fusion gameplay, right? So now we're going to go more for the Darklord fusion cards, or just maybe get some burn damage going on. Regardless option you send, you gotta be very careful which one you want. You're either going to go into more of your big boy Darklord cards here, by getting the branded spells, or maybe a Despia to do some life point damage to them, or do your Zoa right away, go into your Zoa. Either way, it's pretty aggressive. And it can be problematic for your opponent. Let's see, this video is 17 minutes, let me try to speed it up. So I just wanted to kind of mention how these can be easily connected together. If you decide to send, like I said, this, you're going to go for your Ecclesia, or you're going to go for, I guess this if you really want it, right? If you go here, right, what I like to go for if I don't already have it, I'll go for this, or I'll go for that. I only have this, and Branded Fusion. I took out Branded in red. You set this card face down, right? This lets you target one Despia or one level higher fusion monster special summon it, and then if you want to, you can basically super poly your opponent, right? So this is good for bringing back this if it died, or you can make it as well. So, what else? So I use that to bring it back. Or if you want to target a Despia monster, right? Like a Despia monster, right? If they have a light or dark monster, you can make this by fusion poly, like super poly them. Or I guess you can try to make, well, actually no, you can only make these two if you do a Despia, which is pretty good. So if this is in your graveyard, and use that trap card to super poly and make this, well now you have this, and with this card effect, it brings itself back. So now you have two bodies for the price of one. Or like I said, I like to use it to bring back this, or I'll bring back this. Which then it can use this effect all over again, and go into these all over again. So, now that we got that, what else here? Ooh, the Bystol. Let's get to the Bystol, okay? Actually, probably should do cash here, but we'll come back to cash. So the Bystles, you guys know, they're kind of like a soft negate, but not really, just banishing card out of the graveyard. This one here is pretty good for sitting a card that you don't like your opponent's side of the graveyard when it goes away. But this here is really good as well for searching out that one or that one, right? Search out any dragon. Well, I was like, wait a minute, any dragon? So I decided to get the fun idea, mostly because of Zarak for always negating me. So if I want to do a dragon search, and assuming I don't need this or this at the moment, that's right, boys. We are searching out Light and Darkness Dragon, a very old, powerful Yu-Gi-Oh card. Pretty much just negates the crap out of your opponent. Think of like the Appaloosa, but very old version of that. That's what this is. Trust me, you don't want to be on the end of that. Plus, there's some pretty nasty combos with this. I'm not going to get into it right now. I just wanted to show you this off real fast. The combo is pretty nasty, so I'm going to save that as a surprise later. Let's see. So that's what you want the Bystles for, to search out either this here, another Bystle, or I like to search out now Light Darkness Dragon because it's not searchable to my knowledge easily. So now we get that out of the way. Let's go into our Rice Heart. So all of this, like the Bystles, Volumatic, Rice Heart, all of this is extra stuff, including the Cash Tier, okay? So as you guys know, Cash Tier does this thing. I don't know much about it. I just know they summon themselves rank 7s, right? They're honestly not necessary. I just threw them in here just to be kind of annoying. So you want to try and make, I guess, this thing first, right? And then this lets you special summon one Cash Tier out the next turn. So if possible, you summon this, then you special summon this with that the XYZ monster effect. That way you have 2 Cash Tier cards. So let's say you summon this, you search out that, right? You special summon this in defense mode. During their turn, you can either special summon another one of those, or go ahead and grab that out of your deck. So now they're dealing with the freaking Cash Tier engine, right? Where's that? Completely independent from everything I just said previously, guys. Obviously they're gonna try to get rid of that as fast as possible, but until then, you can just keep banishing your stuff face down and whatnot, okay? And slowly block zoning them out. And then you have this here, the Mind Hacker, pretty much a safe situation. I'm going to try to summon him after the other card, because then by that point you're going to banish quite a bit. So there you go. You can go into this first, or you can go into this first. Either way, I would prefer to go this one first, as you guys know what that does, right? So there you go with the monster stuff. Oh, I never forgot one card. Archlord Christia. Yes, the fairy lock, the legendary fairy lock that for some reason people don't know. If you guys see here, if you have exactly 4 monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you can target one free monster and add it to your graveyard to your hand, right? Neither player can special summon monsters, guys. That is a problem. for nothing has a high attack points too, and defense points. So basically, if you can get this card to the graveyard, bring it back using Superbia's special ability, no one else has special summon monster. That is the legendary fairy lock. There's a bunch of ways to get this into the graveyard. So the easiest way, trade in. Trade in can do it. She can do it. What else? Branded Fusion can do it. Right? You're gonna send that. One Branded Void and make preferably that. Or if you want to, that. So while that's in the graveyard, they're like, holy cow, she's about to go Mirror Jade, right? Likely. Well, what happens when I just play that? Bring back Superbia, and it brings back Archlord Christia in defense mode or something like that. Now, you have to deal with the Mirror Jade on board, and you can't special summon. Good luck. Good luck, boys. I've done that to you guys multiple times. Let's see what else. I think that might be just about everything. So we have our DARKLORD here. The first DARKLORD, 3 fairy monsters, guys. 3 dark fairy monsters is all you need. So not even DARKLORD monsters. However, if you make him using the first the DARKLORD 1 star, he basically blows up all of your spells and traps and monsters. And he acts as a monster born for your fairy monsters as well, guys. So again, you can go for any fairy, including Archlord Christia, or better yet, 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, or 1, 2, or 1, 2, or where's he at? 1, 2. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of possibilities to connect this all together. Let's see. So this is pretty much your main star here. He also offers protection against being targeted, and he offers your fairies targeting protection as well. So when I go up against Trap Trick, what's the other deck? Sky Strikers. Any deck, even Tier Limit, any deck that uses a lot of targeting, if I get him out, they're kind of screwed over. Most of the time, Sky Strikers can't out this thing. Trap Tricks have a problem dealing with this thing. Let's see, because a lot of times their cards sometimes target a lot. So there's that. And then lastly, let's get into our Link monsters. this is a really good card. This is how you guys get back life points, as well as to search out any DARKLORD monster you want, as well as perform a tribute summon by banishing any monster card from your graveyard to summon. So you want to summon this out, link 2 fairies, any fairies, and preferably you want to try to do this. Remember earlier when I said he brings that whole army? So you make a link 2, and if possible, use normal summon that. If not, just add it to your hand with her effect, right? And if you have this out, just fusion summon this and blow up their board. So even if you can't do a normal summon, right, you can still blow up their board. So, like I said, use her effect, send that to grave, or that to grave, add this, or this possibly to your hand. Draw 2, protection, or let's go big time. Let's go all the way. And then we have, lastly, we have these 2 here. So sometimes fusion monsters, XYZ, everything we have in our deck just isn't enough, guys. It's not enough to bring it home. So I like to make these 2 cards here with her to provide, so they can't destroy it by your opponent's card effects. It protects them. So if you link summon this, you can then make a link 4 or a 5 if you have enough materials. Abramax, with the protection not being able to destroy by card effects, means he can't be targeted, or like Rikeki, right? And then he has his usual effects where he just gains a bunch of attack on a special summon card, and he can shuffle a card back to the deck. And your opponent can attack anything else but him, so that's really hard to get over. And then this one here, she pretty much can negate 1 summon from the graveyard, and negate all current monsters your opponent controls on the board, and use one of their monsters as material to summon her. And also, she's unaffected by other card effects unless they specifically target her, right? I wish she was a fairy, because then her mixed with the first DARKLORD would be pretty nasty. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much everything. There's some other cool things in here as well, like there's a lot of dark monsters, so you can take out their spells or trap tricks. You can take out their traps. You can bring back monsters from the graveyard. Remember, this goes well when you target Superbia. Superbia comes back, remember? And guess what? He can now go for all the other fairies in the deck I already mentioned, right? Let's see, you got your gate. This here, you want to play this, like I said, to get your life points back, or to just use it to copy in the graveyard and fusion summon. It doesn't have to even be a DARKLORD either. Where else? Cashier Rebirth, yeah, annoying. The biggest weakness of this deck, guys, is Ash Blossom. I would say Ash Blossom, Call by the Grave, and maybe Drone and Lockbird, but most people will play Ash Blossom, right? You do not want to be Ash Goddess, because that can pretty much be over for you guys. This deck has a lot of heavy summoning costs, but it's not that hard. But you don't want to be Ash. You want to be able to draw. You want to be able to search. You want to be able to, you know what I'm saying? You want to be able to search and draw. You just need cards, right? So I play this in Ash Blossom every time, because that's what most people have. Well, anyway, guys, that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was kind of long, but I wanted to break down exactly why I play what I do, why I do what I do, and I wanted to kind of go over each individual card, okay? If you guys have any more questions or like more tips and things like that, I can do my best to provide on DARKLORD tips, but at the same time, I encourage you guys to, who are trying to build a DARKLORD deck, add your own spice to it, have fun, try things out. I can give you some tips on how to do it, but it is interesting when people ask me like, hey, I want to build DARKLORDs, and then they say, can I take this card out, when every card I play has a very important piece. I'm like, I guess you can, but you don't have to copy my style. Do what you think is best. If you guys didn't realize, this deck almost kind of act independently from each other, except for a few cards. So, have fun and just experiment, But alright guys, I will talk to you all later, okay? Take care. Bye!